So economically, we're going to be at the top of the world. You are looking at another Texas of USA. You have so many minerals here. You have so much potential here.
Why you chose and why you were interested in this field of minerals and mining?
This has always been very interesting subject for me since I was a child. Huge deposits, definitely. It's not anymore in the billions. We're talking now in terms of dollars, trillions of dollars.
What other benefits can you see for the people of Pakistan?
You see, it's a win-win situation for all of us. They make money, we make money, the locals make money. Initially, they kind of ignored me. It doesn't work this way. You need to learn the trade first. Young kids, if you're saying, definitely it has a lots of future. And then they bring in money where, businessman, if he sees money, he would, he knows how to make money and he would make money. So
There's so much information, misinformation, etc. going around, which is so negative. Welcome to another episode of Straight to the Facts, a Criterion quarterly production in collaboration with Talking Sense. Recently, the Pakistan Mineral Forum 2025 was held in Islamabad, the objective being to unlock the true potential of Pakistan's mineral wealth. Representatives and potential investors from multiple countries were invited and attended this conference. To discuss this today, we have with us Mr. Shahid Iqbal Qureshi. He was one of the speakers in the conference and is the chairman of the board of directors of Pakistan Gems and Jewelry Development Company within the Federal Ministry of Industries and Production. Welcome to Straight to the Facts. Pleasure to have you here. Before we start talking about the conference itself, I would like to just ask you, sort of a personal interest, why you chose and why you were interested in this field of minerals and mining and etc. And then we will discuss the conference and what it has done.
all right. Actually coming from a private sector and the corporate sector, I've seen both, and now this bureaucratism. This has always been a very interesting subject for me since I was a child, because the minerals mostly, which are found in Balochistan, and I've spent my childhood there. So this place and this whole mineral sector has been like very close to my heart, and I've been actually listening to all this since I was probably 10 years of age. Father was posted there.
Okay.
And I recall, my father being a very senior banker, he was the head of the province at that time. And I remember him, mentioning about the Sandek and the Rekordek and the Gawada, these specifically three places. And he would say, if we really work hard on these, so economically, we're going to be at the top of the world.
Yes.
So this was like always been stuck in my head.
And how long ago was that?
This we are talking mid-80s, right? So like 40 years already.
Yeah.
So I was like 10 years, 11 years old. So like that's why I said like this was like kind of stuck in my head, and I was always like, yes, we are so fascinated. I was, talking about the gold, talking about how the port, and especially a friend of my father's who she was a German geologist, and she would very frequently visit Balochistan at that time, and she was in fact one who would always come back and actually tell my father, because she was a geologist and she had done all the research on the province, and she would say, Mr. Qureshi, you are looking at another Texas of USA. You have so many minerals here. You have so much potential here. And that's where I said, like, my father would get really excited about it, because he's been the banker, funding, and it's all been going on. I mean, there's the Sandek project has been very old, and so is the Rekordek.
Yeah.
And definitely, so that's the background for the whole thing. And having said that, I've been very close to the local. I've been going to school. I've learned Balochi there from my drivers, though. So that's why it's been very close to my heart, and I could really relate, and really fascinates me. And knowing the local mindset also, which I'm pretty close to.
Okay. Okay. And just, I mean, we've been hearing about this for some time. As you said, your father was talking about it 40 years ago. So why has it taken such a long time for this to uh, develop, for us to tap these minerals? And that also, it is the untapped, which we have to tap in the future. So why such a long time?
Well, it's not that we have not been doing. I mean, obviously, we've not been doing to its fullest. It's been on the very mini minor kind of a movement. Obviously, one of the reasons has been our resources. We've been very limited on the financial resources.
Okay.
You need a big infrastructure for all that, and obviously, in that, you need the international investors coming in. And if I would a little connect to the locals again, I kind of see, these local people. Uh, you need to kind of address their kind of little, the insecurity. There's Sardar mind kind of people. It's their pride. They know it's this is something very expensive, like copper. For a matter of fact, you go to Chavi, you see it's tons of copper lying outside their houses. If they take it as a pride, at the same time they don't know what to do with it because the infrastructure, like I said, it's very weak in that area. It's not that connected. You have house like one probably 10 miles away from one house to another house. uh, Having said that, I say if you address that, people are definitely prepared, and then you bring in the businessman, which is our business community is pretty, strong enough to support this all. And then obviously you need international players, which we from these kind of forums we're attracting. And I think if you connect all those, probably this would give a result in a better way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this conference that recently took place, the mineral conference, mining forum, what makes this different from the ones that we've had previously? And what makes this, what is the potential of this conference?
Well, I guess it was very impressive, I must say. Because it from the previous one, like you said, we were focusing on one country,
Country specific.
Saudi. Yeah, it was a country specific. Obviously, they're key players with us. They are partners in lots of other things. So this middle conference was definitely a very successful, I would say, because we had participation from. We had invited 30 countries. We had participation from over 20 countries. Turkey was there, Uzbekistan were there, Chinese, Americans, Russians, and that's very encouraging. I mean, uh, so I see that it was very different from the previous one, and I see this one going a long way with giving out message again to the international community that obviously we're a very welcoming country anyway. Then we would definitely like people to come in and invest with joint ventures, and the government is all out to facilitate. And we are definitely facilitating to the maximum this time, or otherwise always been. But especially SIFC coming into the play. That's a special investment facilitation concept. They've been like working way hard, all with all the stakeholders there, all of us working very hard basically. So that has given quite a confidence, I guess, overall.
Okay. So basically, ease of doing business and
Yeah, I mean
one
the one window operation and the ease of doing business. That has been SIFC specific, right? Because you see, I also look at it this way: if the matter of fact, it's a local business, or if it's an international businessman coming in, they want to just probably go speak uh, at one window operation, and that's the whole job of the government also. So we have tried our best, and we're doing our best in that way that you just come in uh, to one window, and everything's been taken care of. or and that's where then we take it up from here.
And how was the reaction of the foreign investors that came? What is their feedback that you got? What is the positivity that is coming
Well,
out of this?
from the conference, obviously it was internationally covered from U.S. Media, from the Chinese media, from the Arab media, and uh, from the conference, it was very positive. Even meeting after those conference and in our kind of a bilateral where we sit down and talk, and they were very positive, and they're all charged and they're all set to come and invest. And I mean, we really look forward for that.
Before we when we were having our conversation before this podcast, you had mentioned something very interesting, which I want you to repeat for our viewers. You were mentioning precious stone, and just what sort of potential we have with just that particular side of mining.
Yeah.
So, if you could just elaborate on that.
Well, I'm giving a little background of obviously of the mining sector. We have uh, huge deposits. Definitely, it's not anymore in the billion. We're talking now in terms of dollars, trillions of dollars. It's from the lithium, from iron ore to coal to salt to lead to zincs, from material to industrial material. And in specific, when you're talking of the gemstone, the mining, that's again very interesting because you see the copper and gold, and definitely naturally that's as we mentioned, it requires a big infrastructure, and we are definitely looking at it, and we're hoping that that will come in, and it's already in place in Blake. But this is I call it a low hanging kind of fruit. That's where you get started because gemstone industry or the gemstone or mines which we have in the Gilgit-Baltistan, which we have in Azad Jammu and Kashmir, we have in KP, and matter of fact in Balochistan where we have a semi-precious, we call it, right? And so it's a precious and semi-precious basically. So there's a huge potential for that, and that's been already in place. But unfortunately, where we're lacking again is the value addition and the technology, because the what happens in our case, it usually it just goes out raw.
Yeah.
So it's not giving or it's not adding any value to or to the FX income, or a matter of fact for the even for the local people. And like if you go to Gilgit Baltistan, that's already been very well looked after by the Aga Khan Foundation. They take it as a bread and butter industry, and it's amazing. I would
But they're restricted to mining, not value addition.
not to the value addition, because like I say, that's kind of again an investment. Not big, but it's big enough. It's called the laboratories. Laboratory is where you do all the cutting, polishing kind of a thing. They have it local, but if you really need to look at it on a bigger size, you need to have a big setups. And I would definitely like to quote specifically for if this industry, the India, which I visited a few years ago at the trade conference, and I had visited Jaipur, which is one of the finest producing gem stones in the world, by the way. And at that time, they had it as a cottage industry. They were going very big. This has been 14 years. And if we talk of the figures as we speak now, it's the 3.8 trillion GDP. There's a 7% they're contributing. So that's a big money you're talking just from one small industry. Even the diamond market has been moved from Belgium to Indian cut. So they're capitalizing on this very well. So we are definitely at the same time, we introduced a one window, again, in this case, mine to market concept, where because the leakages, the pilferages are not done because, like I said, the mining is done still on the old way, like blasting and all. So it's lots of waste. So on the value add side and technology, if you bring in the laser and we gone beyond that, that's a very smooth process. So one window where for this specific sector, we had already presented to the government. That was the mining, just putting up a laboratory right next to it, and then getting it certified by the EFORM certified by the FBR. So it's a smooth process going out, you see.
Okay.
And then obviously you need the transportation, which is either airlift. It is not a container, it's not that big. So the leakages has been, it's been taken out of borders. And so, we want to capitalize on that, definitely. And it's a high time that we would do that. I mean, even we have an example of Sri Lanka, which has the finest sapphire. The Thais are very good at it. I mean, they're very smart.
Yeah.
So bringing in, and again, the certification, probably GI A and GI Z, these kind of, that gives an kind of a kick to it. And I mean, you look at all these, otherwise, De Beers or Tiffany's and all these big brands, all they're making money out of their certification. So that's another, the strength on the part. And then it employs, employment opportunities are definitely there, and technically, educating people on that. So that's quite an interesting side of the mining sector, and we are definitely focusing on that.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Just going back to the conference. So the investors that have come in, or that had come to Islamabad, were they just specifically for mining, or they also there for this value addition aspect of the minerals in Pakistan?
Yeah, obviously it was the whole of it.
Okay.
It's just obviously, like I just already mentioned, it's not just about mining.
Yeah.
It doesn't end here.
Yeah.
This is where it starts.
Yeah.
And if you want to make money,
Yeah.
so this is where the money is.
So the investors were interested in value addition.
Yes,
in
they
Pakistan.
are definitely. I mean, they would definitely come in. Like I said, you see, it's a win-win situation for all of us. They make money, we make money, the locals make money. So the employments are there. The locals' employments opportunities are there. And once they establish, and it is a chain reaction, basically. And this is how it's connected. Naturally, on a bigger side, like I said, the gold or copper, even there you need a good refineries for the processing of the copper and all, separating all the important elements there. So I guess the money is on all the sides, basically.
And I believe you were one of the speakers there. So what was your topic about?
Well, yes, I was on the technical conference, basically. And the technical conference was about the value addition, basically. So that's what I've been giving the stage for. That I will retract or probably talk of all the value addition elements that would lead to kind of giving us a support in the industry, in the local industry, and from the international investor coming in and investing on that side. Well, I've already mentioned there's an employment opportunities, and we have approximately 600,000 overall. The mining employment, it's a big industry, So that is something we really are looking at, and if we bring in the technology, that's going to be a great help.
Okay. So from this conference onwards, what is the path that we are taking, and how long would this whole process take for us to start seeing benefits?
Naturally, it's not overnight.
Of course.
And uh, all goes well. I mean, all the procedures, all the process, and all the naturally, we've signed few MOUs with the top firms, top international firms. Again, the ease of business is something, is our job. So we want to make it a point that it is processed as soon as possible. We definitely see over the time, probably in a couple of years, we'll start having a good results out of it. Like I said, the copper and gold is already in process, so we're going to go for that more on that. But the other part of it, I see it is going to be soon.
Okay. So what we are looking at here is a sort of an inclusive scenario where the resources that we have You just mentioned about employment. That is going to have it's going to have a big impact on employment. What other benefits can you see for the people of Pakistan as far as this field is concerned?
Well, obviously, starting off, it's an overall your economic growth. You see, just sitting on the reserve or sitting on it is not giving us anything. So overall, I mean, if we're just good with our minerals export, or we are just good with exploiting this resources, like I mentioned about Balochistan being, having so much of it, we could be really looking at going financially in an independent country. And I guess, and this is what we need. Yeah, and I really look forward if we are in the right direction, and if it just needs a continuity. I think
Yes.
if the continuity is there, um, I I see my father's dream being the top of the economic setup. Inshallah will be.
So, what other things are we doing to attract these investors to come to Pakistan, which maybe other countries may not be doing, or which is special for this?
Well, I wouldn't say the other countries are not doing, but we are definitely offering more special economic zones. And the facilitation to be given, like I would quote, like China did in the case of Guangzhou. That's how they attracted people. That's how they started the industry. The Guangzhou industry was the same. The initiative and the incentives were given to the locals and to the foreigners
Interesting.
were really are something to be quoted here, and we are definitely working on it. We are planning to have more special economic zones. We have few already, and this is something government is very kind of aggressively working on it, because the business community would be like working under one, like I said, window is we've discussed already, but economic zone is also is one place where you just go and set up. So we're working on that also.
Fantastic,
Hmm.
fantastic. And just again, I have limited knowledge on in this industry, but for the youngsters, okay. Now, what you're saying here is trillion dollars, resources, untapped
Hmm.
resources. So this is industry is going to expand basically, and through this platform, now we're going to move forward. Now, and then you mentioned employment as well. Uh, what if you were to give some advice to a youngster?
Hmm.
What sort of skill or education would they need to get into this field?
Okay, interestingly, you put up a very good question, because most of my friends, when they come to me and they're like, I've been trying to attract this business for a very long time, mind you. I've been addressing all the chambers on a personal capacity, like not a person as a government capacity, and then going meeting people on a person, and uh, educating and kind of giving an awareness to the business community, telling them to come and invest, and obviously youngsters, like you said. um, they initially they kind of ignored me, and because I've been to Sialkot, to Multan, Faisalabad, they're industry specified. One is doing textile, one is doing sports, one is into cotton, and so I would always go, and 3 years ago I went to them and I said, diversify, come to this side, come invest on this, because this has lots of potential. I even arranged a Gilgit Baltistan trip for all the business community, just showing them on ground. I said, just come, show you on ground how these things are. So, you guys are big timers, and probably, starting your own brand, something, but for educating and these friends would come, yeah, get me mines. I said, no, it doesn't work this way. You need to learn the trade first. You need to understand first. Even for the matter of fact, for these young kids, if you're saying, definitely it has a lots of future, from technical side of having an education on the certain subject. Definitely that's going to help a lot, but on site at the same time. the research and all that's been going on. We have few institutes doing it, and our Geological Survey of Pakistan, by the way, they have signed few contracts the other day, and we are really kickstart that also because we need the recent geological surveys, and we would know the more the word mines and where the potential minerals are. So coming to the young crowd, yes, there's a lots of future to it, because you see when they're into it, especially the young people coming into it, and they would understand how one is important to us, and secondly how much potential this has for, again, for them to make money, for the country to make money, and then probably that's where they're required, and support this, I would say, in a kind of support the industry.
Because basically, as far as economic growth in Pakistan is concerned, we've had our booms and busts in our history. Uh, it- there was a time where it was studied as Pakistan type growth rate, economic growth, but we've not been able to sustain it. And basically, we've not been able to sustain it because uh, the growth has not been inclusive. The stakeholders, it is more extractive. You know, the number of families that grew in the 1960s limited,
Mhm.
etc. So hopefully, whatever plan we have to progress in the future, in it may be digitalization, it may be mining minerals and value addition, it would be inclusive. And I hope that is also a part of your plan in the future to make it inclusive, to have the masses as stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I said, because that's the whole point. Because the local, I mentioned before, you need to get the locals on board, and the business community's confidence that we need to give as we are facilitators, as a government. And then they bring in money where, businessman, if he sees money, he would he knows how to make money, and he would make money. So encouraging on the even on the grassroots level is very important at the same time. As long as they know, there's this, the stakes are equally involved. They've been paid out well or then looked after well. They would be more than happy to be part of this whole economic growth. And you see, again, one of the reason has been that, unfortunately, we have not been out of the basics. And
What do you mean by that? Out of the
I mean,
basics?
our basic requirements. This is mega. There's mineral, again, agriculture, something. Again, SAFC is dealing with that also. We've done the corporate uh, farming and canaling also. That's what's very important. That's required. That's the need of an hour, right? And IT, obviously, it's all brain anyways. So IT again, and on IT side also working. So with reference to that, and the minerals is you've seen now. It's we have already announced next year mineral conference, by the way, at the forum this year. So we are expecting it to be more bigger than forum, and it's going to be more attractive. There always a room for working on things. So we make it a point next time when we have investors coming in, we have lots more to offer on a bigger picture, because see, mineral is a big subject, right? It's a big investment. It's a big time game. But I wouldn't mind saying that involving the people from the basic, that's also one of the key factors that's going to ultimate transform into a reward for the economic setup overall, the whole economic ecosystem. So that's
In some areas, I think they would need to be shown some immediate benefits
yeah.
for them to come into the whole project.
It will, like I said, it will.
No.
It's a long term, it's a short term. So it's all, there's always a long and short, you know. So in short, like I mentioned, there are few fields, and even in the mineral side, where you can set up plants, and you can get started. But definitely in the bigger projects, they require more time. The extraction, the machinery, the imports, and that's a but it goes hand in hand. The smaller, the like I said, the short term plans and the long term plans. So getting started with the short term is probably is going to reward us.
This was a fascinating discussion because you see, there's so much information, misinformation, etc., going around, which is so negative. Always glad to have a conversation where there is positivity, hope, and where there is progress and there is some good news for the people of Pakistan. Thank you so much.
I guess just staying optimistic is the way forward, and we got to say that.
Yes,
And as a nation, as individual, that's the way forward. And inshallah, look forward that things turn out to be really well for Pakistan and
that's
for the
also
people.
yes, and I believe that this is a very 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 positive development. Again, good news, and that is what one of the reasons of our podcast is that yes, there are issues, but there is also light. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me over.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Straight to the Facts. Once again, our online space is inundated with negativity and fake news. Within that noise, we try and bring you developments that are positive and show a brighter vision of Pakistan's future. In addition, Pakistan has had some sensational spurts of economic growth in the past. In fact, in the 60s, the Pakistan type economic growth was taught in institutions. Yet, we were not able to sustain it. The primary reason being that the growth was not inclusive and the benefits were enjoyed by just a few. We hope that this time the new initiatives being taken, like the one discussed today, will be inclusive for the socio-economic empowerment of the people of Pakistan. Till we meet again, wishing you and your dear ones peace. Salam.